What's up and shit, fellow humans? If there are any of you left out there, welcome back. This video is going to be a little bit about the history of how this character came to be, or these characters. So, check it out. In 1993, I was 18 years old, and it was a boring night one night, and I remember talking to my girlfriend at the time, and she was like, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I got some leftover acid, and I think I might just eat it and watch some liquid television on MTV tonight." She is like, "You're weird." I said, "I know." Flip on the channel, and it's snow. And I flip on the next channel. It's snow, and it's snow, and snow, and snow, and snow, and I'm like, no. So as this hallucinogen begins to absorb into my bloodstream, I decided that I would just go lay down in my dark bedroom, and I put on an album called Sig Sig Sputnik. I Want It. And oh boy, did I have a ride. I saw a whole film in my head. I had to flip the cassette tape like 10 times. And ever since then, I would revisit the characters and draw new concept art. And I think about the story almost every night for the last 30 years. So that it's just something I do to go to sleep. Now, I haven't had much written down. It's all pretty much up in here. But going through this process of making these little concept trailers, it's just opened up my mind as to scenes, dialogue. I mean, it's like a floodgate. Yeah. So about a year and a half ago, I decided to put my money into my little project. This is one of the first characters. My mom made this shirt. It's for me. It's one of my very first digital art attempts. As you can tell, it's pretty bad. But, I mean, this is like 1990. When I was 18, I had dreams of becoming, working in animation or comic books or something. And in my last video, I talked about how Pixar had come out right when I was making my entrance into that world, and animators all got laid off. From there, I started doing any medium I could do. I really wanted to learn how to be as good of a portrait painter as I could be. And I'm okay. I'm not a fantastic artist. You can see all the sketches and stuff are framed. And at some point, I can show you the back of them where you can see the ink bled through the paper. Because nowadays, everybody can say that you just AI'd up those sketches. But no, sir. Not today. Originally, I wanted to do a comic book because that seemed to me like that would be the easiest way to go, would be to make a comic book and see if it had got traction, and then maybe Hollywood would notice it. And then I could get it made that way. Because for one thing, I have no idea how to break into Hollywood with my script. It just didn't seem plausible. I think I had mentioned that my art got put on hold when I was working at basically my hands would be numb all week, and I would get like 3 days off. I would start to get feeling back in my hands like the afternoon before I went back to work, and then they would just get beat the shit again. And this continued for several, I don't know, almost year and a half until I ended up having to have surgery on both of my hands because of it. So obviously I wasn't doing a lot of artwork. However, I was still able to do digital artwork because I could still use this little guy. This dude was good. These dudes were not good. So I did a lot more Photoshop stuff. And after we quit, I thought I'm going to put my money into this comic book. And that way my wife doesn't have to work. Hopefully. That was the plan. Plus, I've always wanted to do this. And I always wanted to make something out of this story and these characters. For the first time in my life, I had some money to do so. He made this room to immerse myself in the story and the characters. I went through and made my own posters of the characters. And as I got finished with the posters, is when AI video generation happened. And I thought it was immediate. And I thought, oh, great, now I got to make these moves. And then I realized I could actually make a conceptual trailer for these characters. And I have been on a wild ride ever since then. How do I put this? Using AI to animate my characters or to even use it a little bit to make my posters doesn't go over well with some people. All I know is that when I lost my dream to work in animation because digital animation took over, and I was stubborn about it for years. I hated digital art. I thought if it's not done by hand, it's crap. And it took a long time for me to even get to the point where I put my artwork online. And then I noticed that the whites weren't as white as the page. The blacks weren't as black. And as an artist, you don't want your shit looking like that. And so I basically had to learn Photoshop just to get my original artwork to look good on the web. And that's how I got into that. And then it went from there. And now I love Photoshopping, which is something I was 1,000% against in like 2004. Hated it. And now I love it because there's no paint, there's no cleaning brushes, there's no wrinkled paper, there's no spilling paint, there's no smells of thinners, and it's very clean. And I kind of dig that. People's attitude with the AI, I get it, but I'm also 51 years old, and I've never had an opportunity like this to do something like that, and I'm not going to fall behind again. You know what I mean? Like I shunned away from digital art for so long that by the time I got good at Photoshop's like old school. You know, like people have been like, what? You know? And so when I made the first teaser trailer, I had to actually learn how to do visual effects with Adobe After Effects. And that way I could cover any weird flippy floppy extra fingers or whatever was happening. They could like add things or remove them or add lasers where I needed lasers and stuff like that. This is probably a better comparison here. Without, with, without, with, without. All right, now I just gotta track that sucker. So I took a crash course in that, and I had done one editing project. Like I said before, I did a sizzle reel, which just, that took about 6 months. So prior to these projects, I had about 6 months of editing work, skill, practice. Yeah, so that's about all I had under the belt when I started these. And I hope you liked them. Now, as far as the future of this project, I have about 45 minutes of this movie generated. I do need to do some lip syncing, and that's about it. Well, I think it just needs lip sync and probably some visual effects on top. But 45 minutes, I can do a lot with that. And I probably have more, to be honest. I just haven't, the last I checked. But they were giving away some free generations for a while, and so I've got a lot. But unfortunately, I'm going to be moving out of this location tomorrow. And after this video, I will be breaking down my office, which I just finished in time to do 2 episodes. The prior one and then this one. It's a lot of work for a little bit, but that's okay. Packing it up, guys. Packing it up here. There will be a little hiatus between travel time and getting set up in the new docile, wherever that is in Phoenix. Because, yeah, I'd like to do a lot of kind of tutorials about how I made them. I need to align it a little better, but it seems to be tracking pretty well. So let's pull back here. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. We're tracking. So, like right, I don't know, right there, I think I need to adjust the access a little. But other than that, it's tracking pretty good through this shot. Forgive my handheld camera operation here, but yeah, it looks like it's tracking. Yeah, I just got to do a little right there. You got to make it look like it's turning a little, and then I'm good. So I think I got about 3 shots like this. So, all right, that's what I'm doing today. It's wild. I couldn't believe that I was seeing my characters walking and talking in a scene, which was something I thought I would never, ever see. Thought at best I'd get to see a comic book of them, but I never thought I'd see them walking around in a scene in their outfits. So it was real surreal, and I cried out of happiness, out of pure joy. I think that, if I would love to have this be a real movie, but if making an AI one is possible, I'd still do that just to get it out there. And if it were received well, it might make enough to make a real version of it. I don't know. The future's looking wild, man. Wow. So who knows? Maybe we'll just end up with a comic book. That would still be cool, right? Well, I'm sure there's a lot I forgot. Because like I said, I'm on my way out here. Look, I even had little mugs made. I got mugs. I got my t-shirts. T-shirts over there. Whole lot of business. I have a lot planned. So I hope you guys are gonna join me. Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. Who to even talk to. It's crazy. So until next time, thank you for coming. And let's make a fucking movie.